Where do you start if you want to create your own show? That's a question I get all the time. So in this video, I thought I'd walk you through some of my absolute favorite ways to start and where you can find this material. If we're just meeting, my name is Caroline Ravn. I've been a full-time magician for almost 10 years now, and I absolutely love helping other magicians create their own shows. That's why I started this YouTube channel. That's also why I started my platform, where we go really deep into these things. If you're not already part of that, go check out the link in the description below. I also included a discount code so you can try it out and see if it's something for you or not. Also, welcome to the new studio. It's just very plain right now. I have the lights in, I don't have anything else. During these couple of weeks that's coming now, I'm really hoping to get this place up and running because I'm so excited to have my own studio again. I mean, I built a theater back home, which was crazy. You know, during the pandemic, the entire room turned into a theater. It was cameras everywhere, lights everywhere, and we had these beautiful red curtains, and it was great, and I absolutely loved doing all my virtual shows from there. But then I had the babies, obviously, so if you don't know me, I just had twins 1.5 years ago, and they took over my life. You know, some things do that. Magic did it first, and then the kids. But yeah, so now I had to move into a new studio, and here we are. First video recording in here, so I do hope the audio is gonna be okay, and I have a new light that actually comes with a lot of sound. So in this video, I want to talk to you about how you can build an act, and specifically, I printed out this material. This is Building an Act by Tommy Wonder. This was a booklet that was not really published for the public. So back in 2005, Tom Stone, who is my mentor and good friend, he received this in mail, like a physical copy. Here, this is a Building an Act booklet for you to read. I'm assuming that the theory is, after reading this, the theory is that maybe he was going to use this as a notes for a lecture tour or something, but it never really saw general public's eye. So Tom Stone had the blessing from the Tommy Wonder estate to actually publish this, and you can find it on his website. I also have a very exciting news for you. It's already very cheap. If you're serious about building an act, it's already cheap. It's $19, I believe, or maybe euros. So this video is sponsored by Tom Stone and ravnmagic, which means wolf in Swedish. So Tom very generously is giving us 20% off for any purchase you make on his site, but I highly recommend Building an Act because this really changed the way that I think about magic. You just use the code CRVIP, I believe I have to double check, yes, CRVIP, and you will get 20% discount on the entire site. So as I said, this was $19 or maybe euros. I'm gonna have to double check that. So I highly recommend you to go check it out. It has amazing reviews, and I'm sure you're gonna absolutely love this. As I mentioned before, I have a platform where I talk about all of these things, and a few years ago I did a breakdown of how I created my show, Where the Magic Happens. That was my first live stream show. It's on here on YouTube. And I talked about the creation of that because I did it in May 2020. And if you remember, there was a big lockdown. So I rented a 1,120 seat theater, and I got to invite 11 friends. So I had all of these friends come in. Actually, there was like 2 people I did not know in the entire audience, which was amazing. So I had all of these people come in, and I also hired a TV production team. We live streamed all across the world. And I have a video where I actually talk about the creation of this, and a lot of it is inspired from this booklet. And of course, you can find that on my platform as well. So what are some things that you need when you are creating your own act? Well, according to this, I will be looking through it as I go. So the first thing that he talks about is having the right mindset. And that is basically knowing that you are capable, that you are enough, that you have enough. So most of the time what I see is that magicians, they tend to look to other tricks, or, you know, if I only had that or that suit or was hired to do this and this event, that's when I'll be good enough to create this and this thing. And I think that's total bullshit, because truly, if you are even watching this, I'm 100% sure that you are more than capable of actually creating it, because you have an interest in magic, you have a knowledge of magic. So that's step 1. So some necessary skills that you need is obviously some sort of magic knowledge. You have to be able to know how to build some props and to like take care of your props. And you need some acting skills. If you haven't already taken some acting classes, then I highly recommend you do so. Well, I don't think like it's 100% necessary that you actually have like a like an acting diploma or something like that, you can just go try like improv classes and stuff. So improv is very good because whenever you're doing a show, it's very common for people, when either from the audience or up on stage with you, like the volunteer, to say things to you. And if you can't really react to that in a proper way, it's really hard to make that fly. So I highly recommend you to try improv. It's very scary at the beginning, especially if you are only a magician, then it's really hard to like leave all of your props behind and just do improv. But I highly recommend you to do so. And if you really have balls, try stand-up, because that is scary. If something that is really, really scary. You also have to have some sort of stage technicality, and not technicality, that's the wrong word, like know things about staging, and that's also something that they pick up in this book as well. There are other books on the subject, and if you take this and you add the knowledge from, let's say, Maximum Entertainment Volume 2, because that's a great book to actually go into, like how you can make, not how you build the act, but more the rest of the stuff that comes with it. Like how do you take an audience? How do you maximize your chances of a standing ovation and all of those things? I think you have a solid foundation to where you can actually take your magic to the next level. So one thing I'm 100% sure of is that after you've read this little booklet that is only like not many pages at all, I think it's like 40 pages, it's gonna level up your magic, even if you don't like do anything. Just like knowing these things, knowing how to stand, how to walk, how to talk, all of these things is literally gonna improve the way that you think about magic and the way that you present yourself in front of an audience. Another thing that they take up in this booklet is that you can actually bring in inspiration from other acts, not just magicians. Look at variety acts in general. Like what are they doing? Where do they bring in emotion? Where do they interact with the audience? How can you be inspired by that and learn from that? Because you don't only have to look at magicians, because a lot of people ask me like all the time, like Caroline, where do you get your inspiration from? And most of the time it's from music. Like I hear a song that I really like and then I add that or some element of that into my show, or maybe I'm listening to a song and it like kind of have this emotion, and then that's something that I can create an act from, because you can literally find inspiration from anywhere. So when you take a look at like a variety act, pay attention to how do they start, how do they end? Where do they interact with the audience? Is it introverted or extroverted? Because a lot of very interesting acts are very introverted. Like it's you can walk into their little bubble. And one thing that you can actually do to create that like atmosphere is to add the right music. So if you haven't already tried Epidemic Sound, there's a link to where you can try it for free for 30 days in the description right here. So go check that out. I use Epidemic all the time. I've done multiple videos on how great this program is. So just a little tip for you guys. So the next step in creating the show is, well, actually part of the first step is really sticking to a theme. So when you are starting brainstorming the show, it's like you can think about the name, you can think about the theme, you can think about all of these things that you want to add, but limit yourself to something very, very specific. So one thing that I see a lot of people do is that they have like a million ideas and they toss these around. But when I created Where the Magic Happens, which is my first show that I ever did, and it's also the show you can see on here on YouTube, what I did was that I started with a theme, because you might not know this, but Tom Stone was the main magic consultant for the show, and I also had a director who is a clown, and we had a great collaboration. One thing that we're really stuck to from the beginning was, what is this show about? Well, the show is about a girl who fell in love with magic through the eyes of her grandfather, who was a magician, and the journey she took to be able to become him. So in the show, I say a line that is also in my TED Talk. I say, it's so hard to go into without like going into the thing. What, does that make any sense? What I say is that I remember a feeling of warm tears filling my eyes as I thought that one day I'm gonna be just like him. And if I sum up what Where the Magic Happens is, the theme, it is that sentence right there. That's the essence. That's what we're creating. So in the show, I'm using my hat as like inspiration and the metaphor for my grandfather. Even there's even a memory sequence that is not on the one that is on YouTube. This is the one that I was on tour with. There was a sequence where all the lights changed. I put the hat on and I became my grandfather, and I was talking to an invisible Caroline who was like 5 years old. eating rhubarbs with her, and it's quite a beautiful piece. Speaking fake Danish, it's really, really pretty. And at the beginning, I did not think this was gonna fly, but this is like when you take in advisors, people who are gonna be directing and helping you out, find people that you trust and listen to what they say. And that's the next thing that I wanna come into. Like when you create this, make sure that you have people that want what's best for you, but also want to see you grow and succeed. That's very, very important, and something that's mentioned in this booklet as well. Another thing that he talks about in this booklet is to limit your time. So set a maximum creation of this for 2 months. Yes, you heard that right, 2 months. So basically, you start the idea, and then 2 months from that, you're gonna perform whatever it is you've created. So it can be a 5-minute act, but I highly recommend you to try for at least 20 minutes to create something that you can be super duper proud of, and just put a date. You don't even have to have like a theater booked or a corporate show or whatever. Invite your friends, record it, have fun. I'm sure they're gonna love it. You're gonna love it too. You're gonna be so proud of yourself when you're done. If you're getting any value of this, please make sure you like this video. And if you're not already subscribed to this channel, please make sure to do so and turn on those notifications so you don't miss when the next video is coming out. Some other things that is recommended from this booklet is that you take away all the possible distractions that you can have. And one thing that I thought was very drastical, but actually works, is to remove all the possibilities of you sitting down. Yes, block the couch off, turn your Instagram, turn off your Netflix and HBO or whatever subscription. Don't watch TV, that's very, very distracting and takes up too many hours of your life. I'm talking to you. And also like all your chairs, place them like upside down, make it impossible for you to sit down. Why am I sitting down right now? That's ridiculous. Going on social media, stop scrolling, take away all the distractions that you can possibly find for yourself and have this thing created. So one thing that I find myself doing when I'm creating something new, like I have a new project or I have a new show or whatever it is that as soon as I feel like I'm lacking enthusiasm or happiness or creativity, that's when I try to go to other places, like scrolling Instagram, like rewatching whatever show well, it's actually New Girl right now. Have you seen that? It's great. My favorite show of all time. So that's what I feel like when the enthusiasm is gone and the happiness is gone and the creativity is gone. That's where I have all of these distractions. So what you really want to do, you want to fuel the enthusiastic feeling you have. It's and what you have to realize is that you kind of fuel that yourself. The more enthusiastic and happy and creative you feel like you are, the more you pour that into the project. And there's so much negativity online, there's like bad news and all of these things that's gonna remove that enthusiastic feeling, that's gonna remove your enthusiasm and just basically kill the idea that you have. So avoid that as much as you possibly can. Isn't that just so insightful? And I am not kidding you. I was just going through the first like 7, 8, possibly 9 pages of this booklet, giving you all of that value. The booklet is 41 pages long, and let me tell you, it's gonna change the way you think about this. It's so, so good. I highly recommend you to get it right now. You can read this in, I don't know, like an evening. Turn off your Netflix, read this, change your life. You're gonna be so happy that you did. And when you purchase this, make sure you use the code CRVIP to get the 20% off. There are a few other tricks that I can recommend from this site. One of them is Toast for Sharon. It's actually part of the show that I do. I think it's part of the Where the Magic Happens. That is the version on YouTube. Not 100% sure. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's part of the coin routine that I have. It's not completely from there, but it was inspired from a Toast for Sharon. It's a great, great routine. If you want to learn more things like this, if you want to dig deeper into any subject like this, do consider becoming part of my Ravniverse, which is what I call it. That's ravnmagic.com. That's where I post more of these stuff. I go very, very deep into this subject, and you will also see a lot of full magic shows on there. So I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye. I think that was good. I think it was good.